towards a credible, all-inclusive constitution. Attempts by previous section of the Senate to alter provision of the 1999 Constitution ahead of election cycles and the fresh amendment debates that follow afterwards all underscore the seemingly intractable deficiencies in the document. But stockholders reckon that developing a new constitution that will emanate from the inputs of various ethnic nationalities will halt the endless alteration debacle, Silva Onwokoro reports. Regardless of numerous amendments to the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the document generally referred to the grand norm still falls short of citizens' expectation. Bettered by the 1979 Presidential Constitution, it was the review of the 1979 Constitution that resulted in the 1999 Constitution, which was supervised solely by the military. Since the military exerted power in 1999, the document that the Khaki Boys handed over to the nation has undergone several patch-ups, but is still unable to live up to expectations, thereby triggering the quest for more amendments. This constitution shares power between the central government and component units such as states and local councils that form the federation. Between 1999 and 2023-24 year, it has had the first to fifth alterations, and the current leadership of the National Assembly is in the process of carrying out the sixth alteration. The last alteration was in 2023, but despite this effort, the Constitution has failed to address fundamental issues contributing to the instability of the Federation. One significant contradiction lies in Nigeria's federalism, particularly the inclusion of the 774 local councils as federating units in 8. This contradicts Chapter 1, Section 2 of the Constitution, which explicitly states that Nigeria shall be a federation consisting of states and a federal capital territory. According to critics, the flaws have been the reason for the current level of acrimony and lack of mutual trust across the country. For instance, nepotism ranks high in the government list of malfeasance, as the Constitution states that the composition and conduct of affairs of government shall reflect federal character to promote national unity and also to command national loyalty. The idea is to ensure that no tribe or religion dominates others, but that isn't working as this part of the Constitution is disregarded. Just recently, the National Assembly set up two committees to undertake a review of the Constitution. The Senate has 45 members in its version of the committee, led by the Deputy Senate President, and the one in the House of Representatives has 47 members. It is led by the Deputy Speaker of the House. These committees are, among other things, expected to look into provision relating to Nigeria Police Force and the Nigeria security system, state creation, devolution of powers, judicial reforms, socio-economic rights, and electoral reform. However, many are simply not interested in the endless circus, hence their clamor for a fresh constitution. The Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu at the National Constitution Dialogue called for a new constitution, saying that the current one is faulty, flawed, and does not reflect the yearning and aspirations of the people. He noted that an amendment to the constitution would not cure the fundamental flaws, but that there is an urgent need for a people-oriented constitution which will be subjected to a national referendum. Also, The national coordinator of the Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria, Ariwa Emmanuel Onwubiko, criticized the National Assembly for always subjecting the Constitution to amendment, stressing that the frequent amendments have remained one of the items that bring international opprobrium to the country, given that democracies worldwide do not amend their national constitutions whimsically. Vexed by the simplistic underrating of the national constitution and the obvious fact that members of each section of the national legislature since 1999 are often seen constitutional amendment as a trading commodity whereby the committee members share generous sitting allowance and gallivant all over the nooks and crannies of the nation at massive expenses to Nigeria. Onwubiko proposed a legislation to halt the amendment of the
Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.
Constitution after the ongoing amendment by the 10th section of the National Assembly. He said that the Federation Parliament had from the 5th to the current 9th National Assembly made several attempts to amend some provisions of the 1999 Constitution to no avail. At every section, the Parliament officially spent 1 billion naira shared equally between the Senate and the House of Representatives. There are reports that the lawmakers spend more than what it is appropriated for this exercise. While some amendments were successful, several others suffered serious failures but kept appearing in new proposals, he alleged. Considering the huge spending, he urged that no significant amendments have been made to address the yearning of Nigerians. According to him, the first attempt at amending the 1999 Constitution failed woefully in the 5th National Assembly under the chairmanship of former Deputy Senate President Ibrahim Mantu and Deputy Speaker Austin Okpara. He said the exercise failed when an attempt was made to smuggle the purported third-term agenda of then-President Olusegun Obasanjo when the lawmakers discovered that a clause to that effect was allegedly inserted into the document. The bill was roundly rejected. The second attempt to review the Constitution in the 6th Assembly under the chairmanship of Senator Ike Ikwemadu and Representative Usman Bayero Navada was said to be successful as some sections were amended. These include the financial autonomy of the National Assembly, which gave it the power to draw its funds directly from the Federation account, otherwise known as the first line charge in the 7th and 8th Assemblies. The Constitution review exercise was a mixed bag of successful and failed amendment attempts. Chief among the failed attempts was provision stripping the President of the power to sign the Constitution amendments which is required for them to become law. For human rights lawyer Dr. Monday Ubane, the best is to get a brand new constitution that is to address some of the problems once and for all. The constitution under several amendments, he urged, is still the one made by the military, which like that we are the ones giving ourselves the constitution, whereas there is no truth in it. Is what we have is a military constitution, so we should have a fresh constitution where all the relevant stockholders involved in nation building will be part of the process to know what our current problems are, and once and for all enact a constitution that reflects those realities. Some of the problems that have disabled this country. He urged that one of the greatest deficiencies in the present constitution is the fact that it claimed to be a federal constitution but had unitary provisions all over it. We are running a unitary system of government virtually in everything. I think a new constitution is better. Since 1999, we have been amending this constitution every 4 years or every 8 years. A new president inaugurated. They will allocate money to the amendment, which is what is going on presently. Yet those amendments come as a result of people's reaction to some of the provision of the Constitution. Some have been successful amendment, some are yet to be amended. But the one that usually does not have a problem with the amendment is the one that affects the political elites. Anything that has to do with them, like election, they always quickly amend without having any issues, even at the state level. This is because states where we are having issues is when it involves the general public. Even the local government has not been able to get proper autonomy as required by law, but I hope this time around it will be properly granted, because the moment we don't have local government administration, 80% of our problem will remain. But if we get our local government administration functional and effective, I can assure you that most of the problems we are having in this country will disappear, he said. Another human rights lawyer, Malcolm Omihobo, believed that Nigeria needs a brand new people's constitution, not the amendments of the 1999 constitution. He also agreed that the military led by saying that we, the people, agreed to it when that never happened. According to Omihobo, the defects in the 1999 constitution are so fundamental and foundational that no amount of amendments can cure them. The activists explained that Nigeria is made up of over 475 distinct independent ethnic nationalities with different histories, cultures, traditions, and customs, living side by side until Britain, the colonial master, without seeking the consent of these ethnic nationalities, used force to wed them into one country under one government. This, he said, was done for the economic interest and administrative convenience of Britain. He said, the anomaly called Nigeria is like the impossibility of forcing the 87 distinct ethnic groups of Europe into a union or country under one government and constitution. When Britain was leaving Nigeria, it deliberately refused to properly decolonize it by giving the ethnic nationalities the opportunity to negotiate the basis of their unity, but went on to impose the 1960 independence constitution on them. The 1963 Republican Constitution was very close to resolving the basis of the unity of Nigeria, as could be seen in the devolution of powers, resource ownership, regional autonomy, constitution, coats of arms, regional anthems, etc., and would have improved if not for the 1966 military coup. The successive military governments continued to coerce the ethnic nationalities into one nation without addressing the basis of their unity, and in the process imposing the 1979, 1989, and 1999 constitution on them. Therefore, Nigeria is overdue for a new constitution, not just a new constitution, but a people's constitution made by the people's consent and not one foisted on them. We have to go back to the basis of our unity. No amount of amendments can solve our problem. From the colonial era till today, Nigeria people will have never been given the opportunity to sit down to deliberate on their union with each other.